In the aftermath of high-profile shootings in Gilroy, California, and Brooklyn, New York, it's worth noting that every day guns are used to kill roughly 100 Americans, injure hundreds more, and across the country, gun violence affects the lives of millions. John Yang focuses on the deaths of two particular women in Chicago last weekend.
Judy, even in Chicago, which has been plagued by gun violence for years, last weekend stands out. 48 people shot, 8 of them fatally. Among the dead were 26-year-old Chantel Grant and Andrea Stoudemire, who was 35. Each of the women had 4 children. The youngest had just turned 1 year old. They were on a busy street corner in Chicago's South Side where moms and kids have gathered for the last 5 summers, transforming a corner with a history of violence into a safe space. They're part of a group called MASK, Mothers and Men Against Senseless Killings. It's the brainchild of Tamar Manasseh. We visited her in 2016 on the very corner where Chantel Grant and Andrea Stoudemire were killed, and Tamar joins us now from Chicago. Tamar, it's so good to talk to you again. I just am sorry it's under these circumstances. Just start by telling us about Chantel and Andrea. I know you knew Chantel better than Andrea, but tell us about them.
Okay, first off, MASK, we're moms who occupy a corner. We don't have a membership. It's not like that. If you show up on that corner, you show up to eat dinner, you bring your kids, they show up to play, paint faces, jump rope, play hopscotch, then yeah, we're there all momming together. And so as far as them being members or not, because there's been a lot of discussion about that, is neither here nor there. Because Chantel was someone who would bring her kids to the corner and mom and she would just play with them and hang out with them because that's what we do on that corner. And she was a loving and patient mom. She was a good mom. And Andrea, she had older children. So we didn't see her in our space as much, but we saw her around the neighborhood every day. And she was fiercely protective of the young women in the neighborhood. And there was certainly a way that she thought the young women should be treated, that women should be respected.
Were Chantel's children with her that night?
No. Chantel was killed after our work hours. And I don't remember her being out that day. But the thing is, I think that we're getting hung up on that. In certain neighborhoods, it's just become expected for people to be murdered if they're out of their house at a certain time. If you're out of your home after it gets dark and you get murdered, then it's your fault. It's not the murderer, it's your fault because you shouldn't have been there in the first place because you made a bad choice coming out because you need to make better choices or you were around the wrong people because people in poor neighborhoods can't be out at a certain time because our murders become our fault. I mean, that is a major problem for us and none of us are the better for it.
The police have not arrested anyone yet. They were saying, the police say that they believe that these two women were not the target of the shooter, that a man who was wounded was the target. Do you go along with that?
No, I don't. That sounds like, once again, victim blaming because you were around women who are poor and live in a poor neighborhood were near a poor black man who lives in the same neighborhood. Then he was the target. That's why they got shot. No, shooters shoot who they want to shoot. That's what they do. They shot 2 mothers on a site where mothers come every day to feel safe, every day to bring their kids to play, to actually have a summer, to have a childhood in a place where it's very hard to do that. They killed mothers there. And so I don't want to hear anything about it, man. I don't want to hear anybody deflecting or anything, any of this diversionary conversation because that's not it. People often look the other way when women are murdered in poor neighborhoods because they just pass it off as, oh, they were around gangbangers. No, no one should be dying there. Somebody has to take responsibility for this. That's why we started a reward fund, a GoFundMe to raise reward money 3 days ago. We were just trying to raise $5,000. We've raised $22,000 in 3 days because people are tired of being tired. And women are tired of being blamed for how we're treated or mistreated. It's no more a black woman who is murdered in the ghetto. It's no more her fault for being shot because she was poor than it is for a woman being raped because of what she was wearing.
Since this shooting, you and the other mothers have been back out on that street corner. Has there been fear and apprehension, or has what happened given you greater determination?
It's given us greater determination. I mean, but it's fear and apprehension for other people in the community, and I don't blame them. And reclaim anything. We're not reclaiming anything. We never ceded our ownership of that. We're not going to let some kids with guns and behavior problems ruin what we've done, make us scared. We're not going to do that. Why should we have to leave? Why should we have to be afraid? We didn't kill those women. We didn't kill them. We didn't kill those mothers. We didn't do that. So why should we have to be afraid? Why should the people who work hard every day, who live good lives, why should we be afraid to live in the world that we create? Why? Why?
You are soldiering on, you're working forward, you're talking about investing in the community. It's a bittersweet week, losing these two mothers on Friday night. And then last night, you opened up a new pizza restaurant, Piece of Pizza, P-E-A-C-E. Yes. This is going to help fund your operations. What is that money going to allow you to do? What are you going to be able to do with that money?
Actually, we're building a school, a high school, out of shipping containers, actually a community resource center out of shipping containers. And each one of those shipping containers will be retrofitted as a classroom and as a dining hall. And last year, Chicago Public Schools closed down all of the public high schools in an impoverished area. And so it created a vacuum. So we had all of these kids who didn't go to school, not dropped out, but they never actually went to high school. So we wanted to find something for them to do all day. And if we're out during the summer, but the kids don't go back to school in September because they don't have a school to go to, that means we can't go back indoors either. So we had to think about what could we do to fill that gap. So we decided to create this community resource center / school where kids could come and get an educational, where they would still have educational opportunities available to them.
Tamar Manasseh, Mothers and Men Against Senseless Killings in Chicago, try to make Chicago safe one street corner at a time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.